And the first past district commander we have is Tom Durden. Sitting next to Tom, we have Gene Hamilton. And I am also past district commander. Are there any other past district commanders here that I missed? No, and we have a near past district commander here on our right. He is coming in the home stretch. All right, I'd like to take a moment, and unfortunately I don't have my full list here, but I'd like everyone who is a current life member with USPS to please stand up and remain standing. So we've got Tom, we've got Jean, we've got Nancy, we have Billy Kincaid.
Kearney.
Oh, Billy Kearney, I'm sorry.
Billy, she got a new one.
Sorry, had to do that. Well, there's somebody out here who isn't standing, who is one of our new life members. And I want to ask him, you guys can go ahead and have a seat, but I'd like to go ahead and ask him to please stand up and come join me up here at the podium. Ozzy Osbourne, would you please come join me? Now, I got all the life member stuff earlier this year, and I asked Ozzy to come by and join us for a function at our home port, and he did. He came by and he came for dinner, and about the time I stood up for the program, I looked around and Ozzy was not to be found. So, fortunately, he is back with us again today, and I have for you,
Go ahead.
Ozzy was one of my first instructors at USPS. I still remember when I went for a boat smart class one day, and we all go piling upstairs into the classroom, and we're sitting there, and this very neat, polite, well-spoken gentleman steps up and he says, "My name is Ozzy Osbourne." And I, doing a double take, I said, I know who Ozzy Osbourne is, and you're not Ozzy Osbourne. But now, to tell you the truth, he is always going to be Ozzy in my heart. So, again, thank you for all of your service and a job well done. All right. With that, I do have,
I have to go to the
not
bar.
with me, but I do have a report from the auditing committee that says our books through December, which was the last time we audited things, are in good shape, and that we're welcome to keep moving forward, and Kathy gets to keep her job for another year. All right. With that, I'm going to turn the microphone over to the bridge members who have a few things to say. And I'll start with Robert Campbell, if you would step on up.
Thank you, Scott. This is my last meeting as SEO, and I had a couple thank yous. First, I'd like to thank Bob for nominating me. 3 years ago, I thought I had it figured out. I knew I was going to get asked for a job, and I thought, well, I'll be vessel safety inspector coordinator guy. I figured that wouldn't have to be this much time. And Bob said, well, that's really great, Robert, but we had other plans for you. And it's been really very rewarding, Bob, so thank you for doing that. Thank you for thinking of me, and thank you to the squadron for putting trust in me. And a couple other people to thank. I need to thank my wife. She's not here. She planned to be here, but she was at the NAPE convention this week, and after shaking so many hands, I think she ended up getting a cold. So she apologized for not being here. She wanted to be here. And next, a very important person to thank. I'd like to thank Susan Stevenson, because I remember the day that I was nominated SEO. Kathy Fisher came over and gave Sophia a big hug. Thank you so much, Sophia. So, well, thank you. Sorry, let me give you a real brief report on what we've done. Something just to reflect upon. Over the last 3 years, we added 22 instructors to our crew. Now, you think about the strength of a squadron, how many students do you have, what activities you have. Adding 22 instructors is amazing. And we have 8 in our class this January. So that's really amazing. It really shows the health of the organization. Second thing, in the last 2 years, 2012 and 2013, we taught every class that the Power Squadron offers. Seamanship, piloting, AP, JN, N, the 2 electrical classes, cruise planning, sail, and instructor development. Taught the whole gamut, and almost every seminar. There's a few that we didn't teach, but we held 2 seminars a month for 2 years. So I think that's a real achievement for the squadron. It's really a very healthy squadron. And also, one thing that didn't happen in my tenure as an SEO, we did not graduate. We might have graduated at JN, I think, because I might have been one of the JNs. I think I was the JN that graduated. We didn't graduate any navigation students. Yeah. Right. Except, Bob, you'll be receiving one. We need to recognize Ed Rowland. He's passed his exam. His site folder has been turned in. I've received notification from National that they've received it, Ed, so...
So he counts, you did.
Well, he hasn't passed yet, so if all goes well, then we'll receive notification. So I think, so let's give him a round of applause. A lot of hard work on that class. And when it comes in, I'm sure we'll have a special presentation for you. But that does mean that we probably are on line to get Prince Henry this year. If we can graduate the rest of our JNs, and we have 5 students in today. So really a great year. It's been a great experience. And so there's one last thing I'd like to do. There's 2 gentlemen here that, well, let me tell you one thing that we did this year. On all of our education chairs, for years, we've had all the same people in those positions. This year, we swapped out all of those chairs, with the exception of weather and navigation. So in seamanship, piloting, all those classes, even electrical, we didn't think we could ever find anybody that could help us out with electrical other than Bill Haddock. We have James Pawlowski, who came in from the Sea Scouts and is teaching his 2nd session of Marine Electrical Systems this fall. Spring. And so that's also a sign of the health of our squadron, putting new people in those places. But there's 2 folks, 2 gentlemen here that I'd like to make a special recognition to. Bob Smith and Ozzy Osborne. Could y'all please just come up here for a minute? So I have to thank you guys for teaching me celestial navigation, because it's going to be important to me. I hope someday to take that sailboat I have and make an Atlantic crossing. And I hope not to be learning celestial navigation like Robert Redford did, opening the box when his ship had run into a submerged container. So you 2 guys have been like lighthouses to students for not just years, but for many, many years, decades. And if you try to think back over the many years, what students were in your class, and what impact you had upon the boating community, I think everybody in the room would agree, and you would agree, it's been pretty significant. And so we have a special award for you. 2 gentlemen are just like lighthouses, so I want to thank you. Thank you. And we have these books here. These are Lighthouses of Texas. Hold them up there so the folks can see them. And there's an inscription inside. It says, Instructor Emeritus, give it in recognition and grateful appreciation to Bob Smith, Ozzy Osborne, Houston Salem Power Squadron. So Thank you again. Really appreciate all your hard work.
Thank you, Robert. And Red, do you have anybody that you wanted to address at this time? Everybody.
Well, seriously, I'd like to thank everybody for all the work they provided this year. Bill Haddock has agreed to stay on as PSC this year, so it's a major excellent work you guys have done last year. I believe the total number was somewhere over 200 votes that you inspected last year. That is a good number. Thank you. Bob, for your education, it's been fantastic. You have turned so much over to everyone. In the 3 years you've been SEO, it's been incredible. I know I have had a blast taking your courses. I want to thank every instructor that we've had for everything. Thank you again.
Thank you. And Claire. I'm behind. Oh, Claire. Claire.
There are a few people that I would like to thank. The Secretary's Department always has a lot of good hard workers, but the person who has been instrumental in helping me has been my Assistant Secretary, Bob Stevenson, whom I'm losing. I hope he's taught me well. But here's a little token of my appreciation. Thank you so much. Two other people I would like to thank are Jana, I always want to say Jana Palfi, Jana Wesson, our BANE editor. She's done that for I can't tell you how many years and is continuing on. And Ed Nagel, who is our roster chair. This is the heart and soul of our Secretary's Department, and several of them are continuing. I've got some gifts for them. They couldn't be here today. However, there's some other people here who've been very helpful to me, and I want to recognize them. One woman here, many of you may not know. She stepped forward when I found myself in a position to have to run a fashion show. And who would know how to do that? But together with this wonderful woman, we put on, I think, the most fabulous, most amazing fashion show that's ever been done at the national meeting. And I think people are going to remember it for years. And this is our own Billy Kearney from Galveston Bay. Thank you so much. And finally, someone that you might not even think the Secretary's Department would thank, and it isn't really the Secretary's Department thanking her, but me personally, understanding what it is like to be a person who is a commander and the district first lady. This is a very elite group of people. Past Commander Janet Berner ran her squadron at the same time she had to function as District First Lady. This is not an easy job. You have to balance a lot of things. You have to decide, what am I today? Am I a First Lady or am I a Squadron Commander? I don't think even nationally there are that many women who've had to do that in the same year. So thank you, Janet. It's just a token of my appreciation, a token of my understanding of what that's like. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Kathy, did you have any words for the group?
I like it. Heron, that's a heron. That would be a great presenter.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for all the support that I get. Everybody in the squadron is completely supportive of this job that sometimes we really can't. But due to our fabulous education departments, I've also been busy. It's very revitalizing, and we're changing things and growing every single day, which is a wonderful thing. I also want to thank the members of my audit committee that unfortunately are not here today, and my assistant secretary, without which I don't know what would happen, actually, because they save me sometimes when I don't know exactly what I need to do next. And thanks to Scott for always being supportive, and Claire. This bridge that we have is fabulous, so we'll try to do our best to keep that flow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy. Now, just a couple of things from my side. I did want to recognize the folks on the bridge this year for all of their hard work. So if I can ask Red and Robert and Claire and Kathy to please come up and join me here.
We're good looking anyway.
I think they didn't ask me to go get the boat.
Two of you are.
Most of you have seen this special ensign that we have right here that was brought to us courtesy of our district commander this year. These were handed out to each of the districts, and each of the district commanders took it into their own district and then collected from each of the squadrons the different battle ribbons. You guys know we have our own battle ribbon. You can see it proudly displayed here on the front. But we thank the commander for bringing it and sharing it with us today. But for the special anniversary thing for the folks that helped me on the bridge, I have for each of you a battle ribbon to share.
That's great. That's a good name.
Not everybody gets one of those.
No.
Good, Scott.
Scott, I like that.
Yeah.
Kudos to Scott.
1949.
You know now for that.
Thank you, guys.
You don't need to.
Now there's a couple of other folks that I'd like to call up here, and if Tom and Jean, if you could both step up here for a minute. Yes, Tom and Jean, I need you to step up here for a minute,
It wasn't good.
because I need you to understand a little bit about who these two people are and what they have meant to me. These people are two of the smartest, two of the hardest working people that I know. They also both have a really wicked sense of humor. Yeah, they do. And at the same time, they have taken a lot of time in their personal lives to share their talents and gifts with this organization. And both of these folks have been role models for me, and I continue to look up to them. And I wanted to share with them this special occasion as well.
No one said. Yeah, can you order those?
So there, you know, you can.
You're not
Sit down before you embarrass all of
I want one.
No, it's great. I always say, Gene, what would Tom do, and what would Gene do, and there's got to be a third option. Well, I have one last award that, as commander, I'm entitled to give, and that is our annual award for the
I'm gonna keep that. That's not going to storage.
Lieutenant of the Year, which is not up here, Claire. It's actually in my car, so if somebody wants to go down, no, that's all right, because we don't need to bring it in, 'cause it doesn't have their name on it yet. But this is something that I actually got reading the rules, and the rules are actually posted on the back of the plaque, and I realized we haven't been following the rules all this year. But it's supposedly the Lieutenant of the Year is somebody who's never won Lieutenant of the Year before. This is something you're going to use to encourage and try to get people involved. But in fact, we have regularly given this award to a number of people who have time and again done some great things for us. Well, this year it's almost a little bit more legitimate, because we're going to give it to somebody who hasn't actually been eligible for this award for a long time, but I do think they've won this award before. But there's a lot of people deserving. I mean, Jana, for all of her work on the Bene, has always been worthy. Chris Levitt, who is not here today, that makes it easier for me not to give it to Chris. I gave it to Chris last year, and he went over the top this year on things he did with the Sea Scouts and ran an entire Sea School program, which was absolutely outstanding. And as you go down the list, there are a lot of people who've done some really good things. Bill, this year, again with the vessel safety checks, outstanding year. We're #1 in the district. I think we actually, I think Bill was actually looking at moving on, but we actually got him engaged before he could think about retiring. So we actually got him started with more events this year, and he's already on his way. No, this is something that I want to hand out to somebody who's been responsible for a lot of the things that we've done this last year. And it wasn't in a formal job description, but it was certainly something that he took in stride with what he's done with the organization. And I'd like to ask Bob Stevenson, can you please come up and join me here for a minute?
Very cool.
This is IT Bob. Bob, of course, has been running things for years behind the scenes as secretary, keeping us all in line. Well, this year he was assistant secretary, so he was almost all there the whole time. But when we came to look at doing some things for the squadron, when we wanted to upgrade some of the equipment, we wanted to get some PCs into each of the classrooms, Bob was there. He went down and got the PCs, got them installed. He took on Windows 8 and stared the sucker down and got it up and running for us. And so, yeah, that took a lot of bravery. And then we had other things, which included some of the work we did with PayPal. And this year he's going to be launching off on a new career as our education officer. And I can't imagine that things are going to be in any better hands. So with that, Bob, I want to give you a thanks, and I think I have one left for you. Thank you as my Lieutenant of the Year for 2013 and 2014. Much appreciation. And now I just have a couple of comments that I wanted to make before I turn it over to our district commander. It was an interesting year for me because this, of course, being my second time around, I had the advantage to be able to sort of move in ways that somebody who's just taking on the job for the first time may have been a little hesitant to do so. But we just had come off a tremendous year in our education department in 2012-2013. Absolutely phenomenal things. And again, I give Robert Campbell a great deal of credit for that. We got to sit at the boat show with Robert Campbell, and the man is scary. You just better be glad he's not a used car salesman, because each of you would be driving home in a 1962 Chevrolet right now. But he has the incredible gift of being able to engage people in conversation and get them excited about it. You heard him talk about all the number of new educators that we've got in the program, and he's responsible for that. Responsible for a tremendous number of new students coming in. And the one thing that as our organization needs to do, we need to continue doing that. And so in order to sustain that, we as an organization need to do some things that help them do that. We need to, we can't throw lots of people at the problem. We don't have lots of people. Everybody is kind of stretched thin. So we have to become more efficient at what we do. We have to do more with what we've got, and that was a large part of what we did this year. We started off with our resources at our home port. We did a major cleanup. We got rid of tons of clutter. You remember the girls' show? How many people here remember the girls' show? Okay. We finally got rid of some of the props from the girls' show that were sitting prominently in our storage room. So
Not the leather pants or the whip.
no, those are framed in the library. But
Something that needs to come back in.
we still have all of our important historical documents and things, but Gene, do you remember that TV that you donated to us a few years ago?
That's because I didn't want to take it to Goodwill.
I know. Well, we tried to take that TV to Goodwill, and they wouldn't take it from us. So, we hadn't used it in quite some
What
time.
about my globe? Did you throw away the globe?
No, the globe's still
You
there.
could still shine the flashlight on that to talk about
Yeah.
insulation.
No, the globe is still there. All the teaching aids are still there. Now, this is just stuff we don't need. We got rid of all that stuff. Then we started upgrading. We replaced the projectors. We installed a new projector downstairs as well as upstairs. We now have brand new screens in 3 of the classrooms right now.
Yeah.
So we've added computers to each room. We've added internet access to the building. Every time you go in to teach a class now, you no longer have to drag a laptop, or you no longer have to guess where things are. It's all right there, ready to teach on the fly. So we're reducing the level of effort needed by the instructors to use the facilities. We're also doing some things to help make dinner meetings at Homeport a little smoother, a little easier. Again, making things more convenient, reducing some of the obstacles to doing the things that we like to do. And it means that we need a little less effort to do them. So that's all well and good. Now, on
You
the...
want to come to my house?
I know where your house is, and there's still ice cream in the freezer over there, I bet. Along that same note, we did indeed continue to bring people through the classes, and the education department this year continued to flourish. We need to get a little more efficient at some of the things we do for membership, but even though we probably underperformed on a membership standpoint, right now we're up on membership over last year about 10%. So that's a good thing. Now, we did all of this, and we just looked at the books this last week with Kathy. We did all of this. We spent money on new projectors. We spent money on brand new computers. We spent money on the building where we needed to build. And somewhere along the way, the city of Houston came in and tackled us with the occupancy permit.
That was,
20
I found out it was David, it wasn't Paul.
Oh, okay.
If you'd
it
only
was
called me.
somebody that knew you. Well, $2,500 later,
Oh,
we are now all together with the city of Houston.
it's electrical.
But we've also done some other things like adding PayPal online, so we can now do course registration online. We upgraded the website. I forgot to mention that at the end of the year, with all the other planning coming on, I came to Bob and said, Bob, we're going to the boat show. Can we just tweak the website a little bit? And we overhauled the website. It's made some major improvements, and it's gotten aligned with the things that we're doing for the public. So you'll look across all of that, and I think that as an organization, we're gaining momentum behind what the education department is doing. And Kathy just shared the books with us this last month. Even with all those extraordinary expenditures, we are still in the black for this year. And that goes to show you how important education is to the whole nature of what we do and everything that we teach. So now I'm kind of moving on. It's kind of interesting because I'm going to be leaving the Houston Squadron as commander. I'll still continue to be on the bridge, on the e-board. I do have a new job at National. I'm going to be working with the Boat Operator Certification Committee. And I've got, at National, I had the chance to listen and talk to a bunch of people and see what's going on. And there are some exciting things happening with this organization. And with what I see Houston doing, and as an organization, you guys are a poster child for everything that we're talking about that this organization needs to be doing. So it doesn't in many ways look like some of the organization of the days past. We still have our traditions, so we still respect how we got where we got. But we're certainly not afraid to try new things and to break some things out and to be working smarter as an organization and be more customer focused. Because at the end of the day, it's reaching the public that is going to make the difference for us. We can't stand back and be like, the old guard of your, teaching navigation the same way we did 50 years ago and expecting that people are all going to flock to us and want to take classes for 3 or 4 years. We've got to be able to attract the people that need the education. We've got to be able to find the ways to present the materials that they're most interested in. Once they become engaged with us, there's a whole world that we can share with them. But we've got to be able to get their attention and to get them to participate. And I think we're on the right road to doing that. With that, that's really all I had to say. That was more than a couple minutes, right? I know I just told you. It's okay, it happens. With that, I'd like to introduce our district commander.
Here is for the Certificate of Merit for USPS Educational Fund for another year, 40th award. And Mr. Hotop is not here, but I have a certificate for him for Century Club Vessel Safety Inspections. That's 100 vessel safety inspections. This is his 5th year. Okay. Well, I'm not going to have to say much because Scott has said most of it. We are 100 years old. And we cannot, there's not many here, I don't think it's 100, so most of you haven't seen it. We have done things one way for a long time. We need to look at how we're doing things, how we're changing things, what our approach is, and it's going to be up to the incoming bridge to look that over and say, how are we going to approach the next 100 years? Fortunately, Houston Sail and Power Squadron, under the guidance of the trusted Scott and Claire, and the great bridge you have, you've taken a leap forward, probably ahead of a lot of the other squadrons in the district. And I think that's great. We need to look at the future. We need to decide what the next 100 years is going to be. And we need to evaluate how we're doing it. Things are changing. We don't do things like we used to, putting posters up and expecting everybody to come to our classes. They don't do it. You maybe get a few. We need to do it online. We need to do it with our websites. We need to do it with our programs. We need to use electronic media. We need to get to the people where they live. And surprisingly enough, they live behind their computer. And that's where we're going to go. That's where Houston has put an awful lot of force and a lot of effort into meeting, and that's what we're going to have to do. You guys have done great, and we hope that everything keeps going the way it's been going. I hope the other squadrons can take a lesson from what Houston has done. With that, Commander, would you care to dismiss your bridge and standing chairs?
Will the chairs of the committees and the committees themselves, you are dismissed, and will the bridge, you are also dismissed. If you will please vacate, there is an empty table back there for the time being.
With that, Commander, I shall dismiss Commander Scott McDonald and take over things for the next. Red, would you come forward, please? Raise your hand. You have been selected by your peers to take command of the Houston Sail and Power Squadron. This selection indicates the confidence in your ability and integrity, but it also carries with it certain obligations. I ask that you make the following pledge. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly promise that I will serve Houston Sail and Power Squadron faithfully as commanded. As always keeping in mind the best interest of the organization, that I will conduct our meetings in a dignified and impartial manner, striving to uphold the standards of the squadron and improving them as I see the need and opportunity. That I will accept the responsibility
responsibility
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
of seeing that my officers
of seeing that my officers
and committee members carry out
and committee members carry out
their designated assignments,
designated assignments,
and that I will bear in mind
and I will bear in mind
that it is my responsibility
that it is my responsibility
to give careful consideration
to give careful consideration
to the desires of the members,
to the desires of the members,
providing that they are not contrary
providing that they are not contrary
to the best interest of our organization,
to the best interest of our organization,
and they are not in conflict
and they are not in conflict
with the bylaws of this squadron
with the bylaws of this squadron
or the United States Power
or
Squadron.
the United States Power Squadron.
Congratulations, Commander. You've been selected by your peers to serve Houston Sail Power Squadron. Would you raise your right hand and get your hand up?
It's up.
Get your hand up? Okay. Repeat after me. I do solemnly pledge
I do solemnly pledge
myself to perform faithfully
myself to perform faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
which I am about to assume.
which I am about to assume.
Congratulations, you're in. I would like, first of all, does this say Houston Sail Power Squadron?
Yes.
Yeah, well, let me turn it towards this Galveston Bay. With the Houston above you, this is the incoming and the outgoing.
And Mr. DC.
William Bland, Bill Fusel, Gabriel Ayrton, Robert Leatherwood, Christopher Levitt, Scott McDonald, Carl Steinbach, Phyllis Steinbach, and John Wesson.
Yeah, Phyllis is recovering from knee replacement right now, so Phyllis, yeah, they could attend.
All right. You've been selected by your peers to serve Houston Sail and Power Squadron. Please raise your hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly pledge myself
I do solemnly pledge myself
to perform faithfully and impartially
to perform faithfully and impartially
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
which I am about to assume.
which I'm about to assume.
Congratulations. With that, I will turn it over to your new commander. Red?
Sir, we thought it was only fitting that you received a gift for being here today. Sent you a little sign of our appreciation.
Say Houston Sail and Power Squadron. Oh, this is lovely.
Thought you'd like it.
Frank had asked us to invest in something that the squadron could use, and with all the renovations, we really had only one thing left that we needed.
Show us.
These are new signs for the front door and back door at our home port. Oh, great job!
With that, I will present them to Red Wilson, commander.
And for yours, thank you. Mr. Sailor Mouse. Thank
Is that backwards?
No, you got it correct.
That's what I thought.
It's not one. That's correct.
It has been an incredible, as I said before, ride that you have taught in every class, gathered instructors from all over the district, all over our area. I remember getting an email a year and a half ago that you requested people stand up to be instructors, and you got 14 replies in one day. That, sir, speaks a lot. We'd like to present you with this plaque in our appreciation of the great honor that you have bestowed upon our school. Thank you.
Might pass it to you. That's it. That's it.
Now we introduce our new bridge for this year as SEO. Pardon me? As SEO. Bob, would you please stand? Do you have any comments?
I wanted to thank the membership for having confidence in me. And as you've heard, I'm taking over behind somebody that can't be followed. I want to thank Robert because we had 2 months of transition from him to me. Now, this is unheard of. This is my 6th department head tour. I've never had 2 months of transition. But what I learned was this job is impossible. So he's left me with this collection of things that are going on right now, unbelievable, and a collection of things that we're planning to do over this next year, which is also mind-boggling. My assistant, also elected by the members, Bob Letterwood, will be of great assistance. But I gotta tell you, Robert ain't getting away. I'm not very smart, but the thing that I've done so far, and I think is the smartest thing that I could possibly have done, is to make Robert my recruiting guy. So he's the guy who's been out there on the phone for the last 2.5 weeks, getting people into the courses that start tomorrow. And there is nothing that I could do in that arena like he does. You heard, he's the perfect salesman. He truly is. He can convince people of what the truth is. So anyway, at this point, was going to point to my beautiful assistant who was going to be passing out to you something to get your help. But following my commander's lead, I forgot them. So we're going into Plan B on my first 5 minutes of watch. And let me tell you what the deal is. When we give ABC 3 courses, we get help from Texas Parks and Wildlife. They advertise the courses that we're going to have. And they give my phone number so that people can call me and ask, where is it, how do I get there, and all that kind of stuff. When we have regular courses, advanced and elective courses, we have the boat show. And we have people give us vouchers, special deal for them. They'll sign up at the boat show. And we get their contact information so Robert can do his thing in contacting them and get them to come to the courses. What we don't have, that we really need, is help with the seminars. We're going to be giving seminars this year, in April, in June, and probably later in the year. The April and June ones are already set. We have instructors for them. What we don't have is students. We don't have a mechanism for getting those students in place yet. Last year we had leisure learning we used as a way of drawing people in from the public to attend these seminars. This year we're on our own. So I've asked Gabe Ireton, our public relations guy, to help figure out how we're going to get the word out. And in my mind, in addition to the website stuff, like our district commander has pointed out, I still think that we need to have flyers in the right place. And that's what I'm going to hand out tonight, so that I can ask you to take them home and then distribute them over the next 6 weeks at boat dealers, marinas, gas stations where boaters stop to fill up and get ice, that type of thing. Well, I'm still going to ask you to do it, but this time, because I got to go to Plan B, I'm going to mail you these things. I'm going to ask you to do it. And I'm not just going to send them to you. I'm going to send them to everybody that I can. And that will tell everybody in the squadron what's going on. And hopefully some of these people will actually get out there and spread the word that we're doing these seminars. I really think the seminars are a good thing, that people will attend if they hear about them. So our mission is to get the word out. Anyway, thank you again. We'll give it my best shot. The question was, how many people have pre-registered for the classes through PayPal? And the answer is 20, as of yesterday. And that's amazing. We never had prepayments. So the ability to plan is just terrific. I think PayPal is a long time coming and definitely needed. So that's where we are. Thank you.
Our secretary, Claire McDonald.
Thank you. My department remains rather stable. The very people I thanked earlier are continuing with me. As you know, I've lost Bob, so that there is an opening for an assistant secretary. This is a fun job. We're the best department, so I'll be canvassing you and other members for an assistant secretary. We currently are lacking a photographer. I may actually assign an official photographer, but with Gabe and his PR people and Rolf and his fabulous camera, I invite all of you to bring your cameras to any event you go to, take your pictures, send them on to me, and I'll make sure they get out so that everybody knows how much fun we're having. Thanks so much.
Our treasurer, Kathy.
Again, I'm going to thank the Squadron for giving me this opportunity and having faith in me to continue in this role for another year. And again, I'll say like Claire, I'm fortunate that my department is going to stay the same, pretty much the same people are going to stay with me. And of that, I'm very grateful. Miss Phillips being here today with her knee surgery, but hopefully by the next dinner meeting, you'll all be able to see her again. And that's all I have to do. I'm looking forward to a very busy year, and I too think PayPal is going to make everybody's life a lot easier. So, thanks.
Well, my comments for the upcoming year are going to be very simple. One of the things, probably the most important thing we have to do, is get membership involved. Both in the monthly meetings, the dinner meetings, the seminars that are coming up, the Super Saturday seminars you have, everything. We have got a program planned for just about every weekend this year. That is a lot of stuff. It is something that we are offering both the public and current members something to do. There is on the water, there is education, there is everything. If it involves this squadron in any way, shape, or form, we're into it. Where it is now, we have to get the word out. We've been around 100 years, and a lot of people in the boating community have never heard of us. We've got to change that. Our publicity person, Gabe, is already on the move with a bunch of things. We've got more coming up. The e-board was going to be contacting both current members and future members, hopefully. We're going to start by simply printing out the DB 2000 list and start calling. I understand that there used to be a calling committee years ago and it was effective. We're going to go back to it. We've got to get people knowing what we are, who we are, and involved with what we are. And for that, I hope everybody here will help the board and myself out this year. Thank you. Are there any other comments for the evening?